All right, so I'm with Philo here, and he's showing me actually an interesting pattern to figure out which fields in this case we're looking at transactions, but you could apply it elsewhere. Which fields are being used? How many records have data, so that the client can quickly decide what's garbage, and not even bother looking at that, and kind of get a sense about the actively used fields. And so he's just about to show me how he did it, because it involves some querying and some Excel magic.
Gotta love Excel.
Yes.
All right. So I'm just quickly logging in. And then if I have a sales order.
So basically, want to get to the form and grab the XML of the form, if I
XML, yeah.
understand correctly.
So I'm sure you're familiar with how to get the XML, so I don't need to walk you through that.
Yeah.
So I do have the XMLs saved. So I have all of the sales order, cash sales, so the different forms that he had, and there's a whole bunch. So I
Right.
used a couple for him to merge. And if I go into customize form, at the very bottom, I have the option to
It's probably on the actions, is it? Yeah.
action, download
Download
XML.
XML. Yeah.
And that gives me the XML. So
Right.
then if I'm in Excel, I can now go get data from file, from XML, and I'm just going to pick now a standard sales order file that I have.
Right.
And then it gives me the option to transform the XML data. So it
Right.
becomes useful for me to build this worksheet. And then in transform XML, all I do, and I played around with this to figure out what exactly do I need. But if I expand my main fields, and then in here, the field group, expand that. And then in the field group, I will have the fields, and
Right.
then I will have fields again. So now I have all of the mapping, so I can say close and load. So now I have the entire form in a kind of workable format, and I also have the field label and the field ID grouping or mapping.
Right.
Sorry, this is actually the group. The field name is over here. So I have the field label, which is seen on the form, mapped to the field ID. So we have both
Okay.
the
And then
human
the ones that
readable.
have script ID are apparently not need like custom fields.
Yeah, and the custom fields have a little bit additional wording, and there I just use an Excel formula. Am
Yeah,
I
just
gonna,
to strip out, that should be anyone.
which is kind of this one here. And then if I enter and I put my formula in here. So I'm just kind of looking up the equal
Yeah,
sign, I'm
basically
counting the
repeating
length,
it.
and I just use this Excel formula here to strip it
Right.
out so you can see this cleans up all of the ones that are messy, and that way I had the mapping. And
Yes.
then I also did a select star from transaction where type equals sales order, which
Right.
then ran a query. I then downloaded that into XML. From there, I did a count of how
Right.
many of the fields were populated. I had this where you have the field labels in a row and then the information in the second one. So it just copied, pasted value into another tab, copied again, and then transposed, because I can't transpose formulas without converting them to values first. So here I
Right. Yeah.
have the field ID and then how many of the fields are populated. I believe that the query only returned 5,000, but it gives a good idea of where we have a lot of data, where we just have a little bit of data, and where we have no data at all. And then
Right.
I used this. So the field lookup, I cleaned it up where I removed the fields that I didn't need. As you can see here, there's a whole bunch more that we don't need for this exercise. I
Right.
cleaned that up. Where here he has the different field sections.
Yes. So do you get that from
Where
the XML? I suppose you have that in the XML as well, right?
I also have that in here, where I have the name of the form, the type of form, the
Oh, yeah, that's
group
the group.
where it
Yeah.
is, and then also the field name and the field ID. I also have if it's mandatory or hidden or shown. So that's where I
all
get
that kind of
visible
stuff.
and mandatory. This
Right,
I'm then looking up, so I can show him, hey, all of these fields, this is how much of them actually have populated data versus which ones are on the form, but there's nothing in there.
right. And then,
And
and
then over,
this is quite powerful because then it gives you within a few clicks and some transformation, you could you know help the client answer pretty otherwise pretty complex question that
yeah,
what
so
are
he
the
can go
fields
through,
all there, whether they're shown or not, because sometimes you can't see what's there, but it might be slowing down the form, and then the client can just sort this list technically speaking and just remove the ones at the bottom because that's all
exactly.
garbage, or do whatever they need to do. So I think this is quite neat and powerful if you have.
Yeah, so here, this is, it shows hide and show based on if it's visible right now. Oh, he has done some work, I see. Because
Or
you see
okay,
here, this
yes,
is a true, and then
right,
this was
right,
changed. And then here I just did a selection. In Excel, if I look at the actual original, I use some color highlighting. So
right,
the yellow ones are the ones that are on this form, but not on this one. And here the red ones are on this form, but not on that one. But I
right.
didn't even put that in my description because it didn't pick up the colors in Google. So I didn't want to go into too much
Yeah, sure,
detail.
there could be a way
But
to
yeah,
do it.
I built
Okay,
this tool to go through.
this is great.